This is your brain, and you are born with 100 IQ of natural intelligence. Sounds great, right? But your mind is cluttered, filled with worries, overthinking, social media chatter, and constant self-comparison. Let's say that's 80 units of mental noise. That means your effective intelligence, the part that actually works for you, is only 20 points. Now take another person. They might have been born with only 70 IQ points, so technically less intelligent by measurement, but they've learned to keep their mind quiet. They don't replay past arguments or obsess about the future. Their clutter level, just 10 units. Their effective intelligence, 60 points. Who do you think will make better decisions, react faster, learn easier, and adapt quicker? The second person, because their mind is free enough to function. Intelligence isn't about how much data you store. It's about how clearly you can access it when it counts. They're not necessarily the brightest person in the room. In school, they might have copied your notes. In college, they might have struggled to solve equations you could do in seconds. Yet years later, they seem to glide through life, getting promotions, building wealth, maintaining calm confidence, while you, the one who once seemed smarter, feel like you're still pushing uphill. We've all met such people. The colleague who doesn't overthink but always ends up at the right place, the friend who barely studied but aced interviews, the entrepreneur who never topped any class but built an empire. It makes you wonder, is intelligence alone really the key to success? Because if it were, the most analytical minds would dominate every field. But that's not how reality works. And think about your parents for a moment. They might not know the latest apps, but somehow they remember everything. Birthdays, distant relatives' names, where every old document is kept, even what you said 10 years ago. Meanwhile, you can't remember where you left your charger 5 minutes ago. Their minds seem to have a certain stillness, a quiet focus that stores and retrieves with ease. Ours, in contrast, are flooded with noise, notifications, constant scrolling, mental tabs open all at once. This difference isn't about IQ, it's about clarity. Intelligence isn't just about how much you know, it's about how much distraction you can silence when it matters. The mind is like a lake. When it's calm, you can see straight to the bottom. Every reflection is clear, but when it's disturbed, even the brightest light gets scattered. Many of us mistake that turbulence for thinking, but in truth, it's the reason we can't focus, decide, or remember. So here's the secret we'll uncover in this discussion. Intelligence isn't fixed. It expands when the mind becomes still. When you learn to remove clutter, strengthen your subconscious awareness, and align your thoughts with focused intention, you naturally become sharper, faster, and more insightful. Meditation and the law of attraction aren't mystical tricks. They're the science of tuning your mind to its natural frequency, where intelligence flows effortlessly. In this journey, we'll explore how your conscious and subconscious minds interact, what truly blocks your mental potential, and how ancient meditative practices combined with modern understanding can rewire the way you think, decide, and create. So stay with me till the end, because if you absorb what's coming next, it might not just make you smarter, it could completely transform the way you use your mind, and that difference alone can change your entire life. The dual nature of the mind, conscious versus subconscious. You've probably heard phrases like, trust your gut, or follow your intuition, and you've probably also ignored that advice, thinking, no, I'll use logic. Well, guess what? That tiny gut feeling you brushed off? That was your subconscious mind quietly whispering the answer, while your conscious mind was too busy writing mental essays about pros and cons. The mind isn't a single thing. It's more like a two-person team. One's a loud, overthinking manager, the conscious mind, and the other's a quiet genius working behind the scenes, the subconscious mind. The problem? The manager keeps interrupting the genius. Your conscious mind is what you use to think, reason, and plan. It's the part that says, I need to wake up early tomorrow, or I should probably eat healthier, and then hits snooze or orders pizza anyway. It's logical but short-sighted. It can only hold a handful of thoughts at a time. That's why you walk into a room and forget why you went there. Your mental RAM ran out of space. Then comes the subconscious mind, the quiet powerhouse that never sleeps. It's processing millions of details per second. Your breathing, posture, heartbeat, emotions, memories, all without your permission. When you suddenly remember a name you forgot hours ago, that's not magic. That's your subconscious sending you a late notification. It's been working on the problem long after your conscious mind gave up. Here's a fun example. You ever notice how you get brilliant ideas while showering, driving, or just before falling asleep? That's not coincidence. Those are the few times your conscious mind finally shuts up long enough for the subconscious to get a word in. It's like your brain saying, oh, you're quiet now? Great, here's the solution I've been holding for hours. Think of it like a restaurant. The conscious mind is the waiter, taking orders, talking to customers, running around looking busy. The subconscious is the chef. It knows the recipes, mixes the ingredients, and quietly creates everything that ends up on your table. But if the waiter keeps barging into the kitchen, yelling orders, and changing ingredients midway, dinner's ruined. That's what happens when you overthink. You're not letting the chef do its job. The subconscious doesn't argue or analyze, it executes. Whatever you repeatedly think, feel, or visualize, it treats as an instruction. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't focus, it says, all right, boss. No focus it is. If you start telling it, I'm calm and sharp, it quietly begins rearranging your behavior, emotions, and even memory to match that statement. No motivational video can do that, but your subconscious can if you just let it work. Meditation is the bridge between these two minds. It quiets the noisy manager and gives space for the genius to step forward. In that silence, ideas appear effortlessly, problems dissolve, and decisions make themselves. That's not mysticism. That's your subconscious finally being allowed to function at full capacity. The conscious mind builds the plan, the subconscious mind executes it. And the moment you learn to make them work together, your intelligence stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like instinct. What limits intelligence? Mental clutter and distraction. Let's be honest, most of us aren't losing our intelligence. We're just drowning it in noise. You sit down to focus, and within 5 minutes, your brain looks like a browser with 50 tabs open. Spotify playing, messages popping, thoughts about dinner, random memory from 2018, and somewhere in there, the actual thing you were supposed to do. Sound familiar? We call it multitasking, but it's really just multi-distraction. You're not processing more. You're splitting your focus so thin that even simple things feel exhausting. Ever walked into a room and forgot why you went there? Or opened your phone for one quick task, then somehow ended up watching a man build a swimming pool out of mud? That's not stupidity, that's clutter. Every unfinished thought leaves a trace. Every notification is a mental mosquito buzzing around your focus. You can't think deeply because your brain is busy swatting flies. And here's the funny part. We confuse being busy with being productive. We brag about how many things we're doing at once as if chaos equals brilliance. But if intelligence were measured by how many distractions you can juggle, every toddler holding an iPad would qualify as a genius. Let's compare two real-life scenarios. Person A, constantly plugged in, answering messages, watching videos, checking crypto prices, and scrolling through 10 habits of successful people while doing none of them. Person B spends 30 minutes each morning in quiet, writes down 3 tasks, finishes them one by one, and shuts everything off when done. Guess who ends the day more focused, less tired, and far more effective? The one who isn't trying to win the noise Olympics. Here's the truth. The brain can't operate efficiently when it's suffocating under constant stimulation. It's like trying to hear a whisper at a rock concert. You already have the answers, but you can't access them through the static. The conscious mind gets jammed like a radio stuck between stations, producing nothing but mental fuzz. And clutter isn't only digital, it's emotional too. It's that argument replaying in your head, that guilt from something you said years ago, that imaginary debate with your boss you keep rehearsing while brushing your teeth. All of it takes energy. Energy that could be spent solving real problems or creating something new. Instead, it's wasted on imaginary ones. Think of intelligence like a high-performance car. The engine might be powerful, but if the windshield is dirty, you'll still crash. Your mind works the same way. Clarity is your visibility. Without it, speed means nothing. Here's the irony. People chase techniques to boost intelligence, buy nootropic supplements, watch productivity gurus at 2 a.m., and then sleep 4 hours while scrolling motivational quotes about focus. It's almost poetic. We consume advice about silence, but never stop talking long enough to hear ourselves think. True intelligence isn't hidden knowledge. It's mental space. The quieter your inner world, the sharper your decisions, the faster your recall, and the calmer your reactions. Once you clear the clutter, the overthinking, the endless stimulation, the emotional leftovers, you don't become smarter. You simply stop being too distracted to notice that you already were. Harnessing the subconscious mind for mental clarity. Here's the funny thing about your subconscious mind. It already knows what you want. It's your conscious mind that keeps sending mixed signals. One minute you're confident and manifesting success. The next minute you're convinced your life is falling apart because your video didn't get enough views. The subconscious doesn't judge. It simply follows orders. And when your orders change every 5 minutes, don't be surprised if your results look like chaos. Think of the subconscious as the world's most loyal employee, one that never sleeps, never argues, and never questions your authority. Whatever instruction you repeat often enough, it takes seriously. You say, I'm so bad at remembering names, and boom, it ensures you forget the next person you meet. You say, I always get lucky, and suddenly small opportunities start finding you. It's not magic, it's programming. Let's look at real life. Ever noticed how people who constantly complain about never getting a break somehow keep running into more problems? Or how the friend who believes everything always works out somehow manages to land on their feet every time? They're not blessed by fate, They're running different subconscious software. One is coding for stress, the other is coding for flow. The subconscious doesn't operate in language, it operates in emotion and repetition. You can't fool it with one positive affirmation said half-heartedly between doom-scrolling sessions. It listens to your consistent patterns, not your temporary motivation. When you visualize something clearly and pair it with genuine feeling, excitement, gratitude, belief, your subconscious starts building the internal pathways to make it happen. You begin to notice new ideas, new people, new directions, because your perception adjusts to the story you keep telling yourself. Here's an example. Let's say you've been telling yourself, "I'm always late." Over time, your subconscious ensures you stay consistent with that identity. You underestimate time, you lose keys, you take longer routes. But the day you truly decide, "I'm the kind of person who's always on time," and start emotionally identifying with that version of yourself, your behavior naturally shifts. You don't have to try to be on time. You just become it. That's the power of subconscious alignment. Results without resistance. But here's the catch. The subconscious can't work in chaos. If your conscious mind is cluttered, remember part 3, it keeps sending contradictory commands. "I want peace, but let me argue online first." The subconscious takes both inputs and creates confusion. That's why quieting the conscious mind through meditation isn't just about relaxation. It's about clarity of command. When you meditate or even sit in silence for 10 minutes a day, you stop shouting instructions and start transmitting one clear message. It's like switching from a noisy AM radio to a clean digital signal. The subconscious finally receives direction without static. Once that connection strengthens, clarity becomes your default setting. You start seeing patterns others miss. Decisions that used to take hours feel instant. It's not that you suddenly became smarter, it's that your subconscious finally stopped tripping over your conscious confusion. So if you want to harness your subconscious power, stop treating it like a genie and start treating it like an ally. Feed it one clear vision, give it consistency, and it will quietly rebuild your habits, reactions, and even your luck. That's when intelligence stops being something you chase. It becomes something you channel. Meditation as a tool to access the subconscious. Let's clear something up right away. Meditation isn't about sitting cross-legged on a Himalayan cliff, wearing orange robes and humming yourself into enlightenment. It's not about becoming spiritual or escaping reality. It's about training your brain to stop acting like an over-caffeinated squirrel. Your subconscious mind is powerful, but you can't reach it while your conscious mind is throwing tantrums. Most people try to access deep focus while mentally juggling bills, notifications, childhood trauma, and dinner plans. It's like trying to have a conversation with someone while 10 TVs are playing in the background. Technically possible, but you'll only catch random fragments. Meditation is what happens when you finally hit the mute button. It's not silence from the outside, it's silence inside. You stop arguing with your own thoughts and start observing them, and that's where the magic begins. Think about it. Every day, your mind is reacting to everything. You scroll, compare, judge, plan, and replay. The conscious mind loves being busy because it feels important. But busyness isn't the same as intelligence. The subconscious, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't need validation. So when you meditate, you're essentially saying, "All right, brain, take a seat. Let's see what's underneath all this noise." Here's a practical example. Have you ever tried solving a problem for hours, only to have the solution randomly appear when you stop thinking about it? Maybe in the shower or while brushing your teeth? That's because you accidentally entered a meditative state. Your brain slipped into a slower rhythm where the subconscious could finally step forward and do its job. Meditation is like unlocking that state on purpose. It slows your brain waves from frantic beta, the everyday overthinking state, into alpha and theta, the creative, intuitive frequencies where learning, insight, and memory flourish. You know how kids absorb languages, skills, and information ridiculously fast? Their brains naturally operate closer to those slower states. Meditation brings you back there, but consciously. And here's the part that might sting a little. Most people claim they don't have time to meditate. They'll spend 3 hours scrolling YouTube about productivity hacks but can't spare 10 minutes to sit still. Irony level, expert. The truth is, meditation isn't about time, it's about willingness. You don't need candles, mantras, or incense. You just need to stop feeding every thought that passes through your mind. If one shows up, fine. Don't wrestle it, let it pass. The more you do this, the more you train your brain to differentiate between thinking and awareness. That's when the subconscious starts listening. Within weeks of consistent practice, you begin to notice small changes. You forget less, react less, and create more. Your focus stretches, your intuition sharpens, and your mind feels like it finally got a software update after years of lagging. The clutter fades and clarity takes its place. Not because meditation gives you new knowledge, but because it helps you access what's already there. So yes, meditation might look boring from the outside, but inside, that's where your real intelligence wakes up, quietly, powerfully, and permanently. Meditation as a tool to access the subconscious. Let's clear something up right away. Meditation isn't about sitting cross-legged on a Himalayan cliff, wearing orange robes and humming yourself into enlightenment. It's not about becoming spiritual or escaping reality. It's about training your brain to stop acting like an over-caffeinated squirrel. Your subconscious mind is powerful, but you can't reach it while your conscious mind is throwing tantrums. Most people try to access deep focus while mentally juggling bills, notifications, childhood trauma, and dinner plans. It's like trying to have a conversation with someone while 10 TVs are playing in the background. Technically possible, but you'll only catch random fragments. Meditation is what happens when you finally hit the mute button. It's not silence from the outside, it's silence inside. You stop arguing with your own thoughts and start observing them, and that's where the magic begins. Think about it. Every day, your mind is reacting to everything. You scroll, compare, judge, plan, and replay. The conscious mind loves being busy because it feels important. But busyness isn't the same as intelligence. The subconscious, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't need validation. So when you meditate, you're essentially saying, "All right, brain, take a seat. Let's see what's underneath all this noise." Here's a practical example. Have you ever tried solving a problem for hours, only to have the solution randomly appear when you stop thinking about it? Maybe in the shower or while brushing your teeth? That's because you accidentally entered a meditative state. Your brain slipped into a slower rhythm where the subconscious could finally step forward and do its job. Meditation is like unlocking that state on purpose. It slows your brain waves from frantic beta, the everyday overthinking state, into alpha and theta, the creative, intuitive frequencies where learning, insight, and memory flourish. You know how kids absorb languages, skills, and information ridiculously fast? Their brains naturally operate closer to those slower states. Meditation brings you back there, but consciously. And here's the part that might sting a little. Most people claim they don't have time to meditate. They'll spend 3 hours scrolling YouTube about productivity hacks but can't spare 10 minutes to sit still. Irony level, expert. The truth is, meditation isn't about time, it's about willingness. You don't need candles, mantras, or incense. You just need to stop feeding every thought that passes through your mind. If one shows up, fine. Don't wrestle it, let it pass. The more you do this, the more you train your brain to differentiate between thinking and awareness. That's when the subconscious starts listening. Within weeks of consistent practice, you begin to notice small changes. You forget less, react less, and create more. Your focus stretches, your intuition sharpens, and your mind feels like it finally got a software update after years of lagging. The clutter fades and clarity takes its place. Not because meditation gives you new knowledge, but because it helps you access what's already there. So yes, meditation might look boring from the outside, but inside, that's where your real intelligence wakes up. Quietly, powerfully, and permanently. Understanding the theta state. You've probably heard the word theta tossed around in meditation circles, like some mysterious mental superpower. People talk about entering theta as if it's a secret dimension where your brain meets the universe for tea. In reality, theta isn't mystical, it's measurable. It's a real brainwave frequency, and your mind drifts through it every single day, whether you meditate or not. Let's make it simple. Your brain operates on different frequencies, depending on what you're doing. Beta waves, your normal, alert, overthinking state. Deadlines, traffic, caffeine, anxiety. The modern human default. Alpha, relaxed focus, like when you're reading something enjoyable or daydreaming. Theta, that dreamy in-between place, between wakefulness and sleep. You felt it right before dozing off or right after waking up, when your thoughts are vivid but fluid, when creativity feels effortless. Delta, deep, dreamless sleep, total unconscious rest. Theta sits right in the sweet spot, conscious enough to think, relaxed enough to feel. It's the zone where imagination, memory, and intuition work together. Kids naturally spend more time in theta. That's why they can absorb languages, skills, and emotions like sponges. As adults, though, we trade theta for constant beta. Endless analysis, worry, and noise. We lose the effortless flow that once came naturally. You know those moments when your mind feels electric? Ideas start connecting, old memories resurface, and you just know what to do next without overthinking? That's theta sneaking in. The problem is, most of us only reach it accidentally, while showering, staring at a wall, or driving long distances without realizing how we got there. Meditation helps you access it deliberately, on command. Here's where it gets powerful. In theta, the barrier between the conscious and subconscious mind softens. Imagine your thoughts as light passing through fog. Normally, your conscious mind scatters that light everywhere. Logic, judgment, fear, noise. But in theta, the fog clears. Your subconscious receives your thoughts directly, like a clean signal. That's why affirmations and visualizations are so effective in this state. You're not trying to convince yourself consciously, you're reprogramming yourself subconsciously. Real-world example. Ever heard a song right before sleep and found yourself humming it the next morning? That's theta learning. The subconscious absorbed it effortlessly because your conscious mind was out of the way. The same principle applies to beliefs in self-image. What you repeat and feel in theta becomes part of your subconscious blueprint. But let's be honest, entering theta isn't about forcing your brain to vibrate at 7 hertz or buying some overpriced theta frequency headphones sold by YouTube gurus. It's about relaxation, real deep relaxation. When you breathe slower, release tension, and stop chasing thoughts, your brain naturally drifts downward from beta to alpha to theta. It's built into your wiring. Once you learn to spend time there, something shifts. You stop struggling to think your way through problems and start receiving insights instead. You become more intuitive, more creative, and yes, more intelligent, because you're finally using the part of your mind designed for clarity, not chaos. So the next time someone says, "You're spaced out," take it as a compliment. You might just be in theta, where the world slows down and your real intelligence wakes up. Applying the law of attraction to intellectual growth. Here's the thing about the law of attraction. Most people think it's about sitting cross-legged, wishing for a Lamborghini, and waiting for it to appear in the driveway. If that's your plan, you might be sitting for a very, very long time. The law of attraction isn't a genie service, it's mental alignment. It's about using your thoughts to train your subconscious mind. And your subconscious, as we've already learned, is the real engine behind intelligence, creativity, and success. Let's break it down. Whatever you consistently think and feel becomes a kind of command to your subconscious. It doesn't care whether you're manifesting clarity or chaos, it just obeys. If you keep repeating, "I'm so forgetful," congratulations, you've just placed an order for more forgetfulness. But if you start saying, "My mind is sharp, I remember details easily," your brain starts building neural connections that make that true. It's not spiritual fluff. It's a neuroscience disguised as magic. Think about how you feel before an important meeting. You walk in nervous, telling yourself, "Don't mess up, don't forget your points." Guess what your brain hears? Mess up and forget. The subconscious doesn't process negatives well. It focuses on the emotion behind the words. So while you consciously want to do well, your subconscious is primed to panic. Now flip the script. You walk in saying, "I'm calm, focused, and articulate." Your body relaxes, your mind slows down, and suddenly your intelligence becomes available again. You didn't become smarter. You just stopped blocking yourself with bad programming. Here's another example. Ever notice how some people always seem to attract the right information at the right time? They'll casually mention a book, and someone gifts it to them the next day. Or they start thinking about a business idea, and an opportunity suddenly appears. That's not coincidence. That's the law of attraction syncing your focus with your perception. When you train your mind to expect clarity and insight, you begin noticing possibilities that were always around you. It's like tuning a radio. The signal didn't suddenly appear. You finally aligned with it. Now, does this mean you can manifest genius overnight? Number, you can't watch one brain frequency video on YouTube and expect to wake up as Einstein 2.0. The law of attraction only works when your thoughts, feelings, and actions point in the same direction. You can't affirm mental clarity and then drown yourself in distractions right after. That's like planting seeds and then stomping on them. The goal here isn't to manifest intelligence, it's to activate it. Visualization and gratitude are your mental tools. When you imagine yourself solving problems easily, understanding quickly, and speaking confidently, your subconscious begins preparing you for that identity. Add gratitude, genuine appreciation for the clarity you already have, and you strengthen that frequency even more. Gratitude tells your mind, "This is already part of me," and your mind, loyal as ever, starts proving you right. The law of attraction isn't about magic, it's about mental focus. What you focus on expands, what you doubt contracts. Start focusing on mental sharpness, emotional calm, and effortless understanding. Do it long enough, and people around you will call it luck, talent, or destiny, but you'll know better. It's alignment. You didn't change your brain, you just finally started using it the way it was designed. Signs of expansion, recognizing higher intelligence in daily life. So how do you know it's working? How do you tell when your intelligence is actually expanding? Not just in theory, not just because you watched another How to Rewire Your Brain video, but in real life? The signs are subtle at first, but impossible to miss once you notice them. The world doesn't suddenly change. You do. Let's start with the obvious one. Your reactions slow down. Not in a lazy way, in a powerful, deliberate way. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and instead of erupting into a one-person stand-up comedy show filled with creative insults, you just breathe. You observe it. You might even smile. That's not weakness. That's evolution. Your subconscious, once a collection of emotional landmines, is finally under your control. You've upgraded from reacting to responding. Another sign? Clarity sneaks up on you. That foggy, confused mental chatter that used to dominate your mornings, it's gone. You start understanding things faster. Not because you're studying harder, but because your mind isn't constantly arguing with itself. You can read a page and actually remember it, a miracle in the age of 10-second attention spans. People notice it too. They ask, how do you stay so calm under pressure? And you can't even explain it. It just happens naturally. Then comes the pattern recognition. Suddenly, life starts making sense. You connect dots faster, see cause and effect more clearly, and realize that most problems aren't random. They're predictable loops you used to miss because you were too busy reacting to them. You start catching yourself mid-thought, stopping bad habits before they spiral, changing your tone before an argument begins, spotting opportunities before others even notice they exist. That's not luck. That's your subconscious operating with new intelligence. There's also emotional intelligence, a quiet superpower that people underestimate. You stop taking things personally. Someone else's negativity no longer infects your mood because you finally realize that energy isn't yours to carry. You become more observant of people, reading their emotions not to judge them, but to understand them. Conversations feel lighter, communication feels smoother, and life stops feeling like a constant battle for validation. And here's one of the most underrated signs. Your curiosity returns. Remember when you were a kid and wanted to know everything? When every new idea felt exciting, not intimidating? That spark comes back. You stop consuming content just to fill silence. You start learning because you want to. That shift from forced focus to effortless curiosity is the mark of genuine intelligence expanding. But maybe the biggest sign is this. You stop trying to prove how smart you are. You don't need to dominate conversations or flex knowledge like it's a trophy. You just know. There's a quiet confidence in understanding without needing to convince. You realize that real intelligence isn't loud. It's stable. When your mind gets clearer, life does too. The world doesn't suddenly become easier. You just handle it better. You think less, yet understand more. You do less, yet achieve more. And that's when you know it's working. You've gone from living in your mind to actually using it. Conclusion: intelligence as a living energy. So here we are, after all the theories, techniques, and quiet realizations, back at the one truth that ties it all together. Intelligence isn't something you have. It's something you access. It's not a number on a test or how many big words you can fit into a sentence. It's a living energy, fluid, responsive, and deeply personal. It grows when your mind is still, fades when it's scattered, and flows effortlessly when both your conscious and subconscious move in harmony. For most of your life, you've probably been taught that intelligence is fixed. You're either born with it or not. Schools measure it, employers label it, society ranks it. But what nobody tells you is that your true intelligence doesn't live in your grades or degrees. It lives in your clarity, in your calmness, in your to think without chaos. Every time you meditate, every time you clear mental clutter, every time you catch yourself choosing peace instead of panic, you're rewiring that energy. You're telling your subconscious, I'm in control now. And when your subconscious listens, your whole world shifts. Look at it this way. Intelligence is like water. Pour it into a cracked, chaotic container, and it leaks everywhere. Pour it into a still, steady one, and it reflects light perfectly. Your mind is that container. Most people keep trying to fill it with more knowledge, more information, more noise. But the real power comes from sealing the cracks and letting it hold what it already has. There's something profoundly liberating about realizing you don't need to chase intelligence. You just need to remove what blocks it. The doubt, the distraction, the emotional clutter, the self-sabotaging loops. Those are the filters distorting your natural brilliance. Once you start clearing them, intelligence flows through you effortlessly, like electricity through a wire. And it doesn't stop with understanding, it extends to how you live. You start noticing beauty in things you once ignored. You solve problems with empathy instead of ego. You communicate with precision instead of pride. You stop needing to prove how smart you are, because intelligence, when fully awakened, doesn't need applause. It just is. Meditation gave you the bridge. The subconscious gave you the engine. The law of attraction gave you direction, and clarity gave you speed. Together, they turn intelligence from something mechanical into something magnetic. You stop forcing success and start attracting it. You stop reacting to life and start shaping it. So if there's one takeaway from all this, it's simple. Stop trying to become smarter. Start trying to become clearer. Because when your mind is clear, when noise fades, when emotions settle, when awareness expands, intelligence stops being a tool you use. It becomes an energy that uses you, effortlessly, silently, brilliantly.